In this video, I'm talking about how to build a sense of community among members of your fan base. What's up, guys? Brandon here from KDMR Music, the channel making you a more successful musician. Now, we do this in a number of ways, but primarily on this channel, we make videos twice a week talking about music marketing, music strategy, and other aspects of the music business that people just tend to ignore. So if you're interested in that type of content, hit the subscribe button, then tap the bell icon so that you're notified when we post new videos. Now, today we're talking about community. And well, what is community, right? And that's really just the feeling that your fans get when they see each other, when they're united around one cause, right? So I decided to pull up the dictionary's definition of community, right? And so community, the number 2 definition is a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals, right? So, when you talk about your fans having a sense of community with each other, it's really important because that type of a groundswell, that type of a movement around your fans can really propel you forward. Now, there are tons and tons of examples of people whose fan bases really brought them over the edge. I think about rappers like Hobson and Funk Volume and how he had a really cult-like following back in the 2010s that really kind of set him up to do really well moving forward as an independent artist. He got named to the XXL freshman list and things went really well, right? Another example of that is Tyler the Creator and his collective Odd Future. They birthed such stars as Frank Ocean, again, Tyler the Creator, Sid the Kid with her group The Internet. Like, all of those people were part of one collective and they had a huge diehard fan base. I remember I actually was able to meet Tyler the Creator in a pop-up shop that he hosted in Atlanta. And the people that were lined up, this was back in 2011, but it was crazy how long the line was for people to walk in, buy one sweatshirt, and maybe pose for a picture while Tyler the Creator is like sitting in the corner, and they were so excited about it, right? And you see people put the Odd Future Wolfgang all in their Twitter bios. It was really cool, right? Other examples, right? Nicki Minaj has her Barbies, Beyonce has her Beehive, Rihanna has the Rihanna Navy, and so on. All of these fans have their groups and their names and their fellowships with each other, to the point where if you say something bad about one of those artists, you got their fans coming right after you, right, to give you a piece of their minds. Now, that energy can be used negatively to bully people online and stuff like that, or it can be used positively. And as an artist, as a musician, you can use that energy to put behind some of your releases and really take things to the next level. So, for example, someone else who gives out music advice online is Curtis King. Curtis King built up a huge following on YouTube. He's got, I think, like near 200,000 subscribers right now. And when he released his mixtape, Somersault, he said, "Hey, I got this fan base. I've got this email list. Let's try to get this on the charts." And so he emailed his fans like, "Hey, listen to this. Buy this. Buy it for $2.99. I'll give you, a special prize, whatever." Right? And because so many people bought it, he was able to chart in the top 4 on iTunes, right? Those are really, really huge things. These are things that can take you from relative obscurity to getting close to superstar status, right? Because when people make mass movements, the world pays attention. So anyway, I'm going to give you a few tips on how you can build that sense of community among your fan base so that you can activate them when you need them. Now, the first tip that I have for you is to give your fan base a name. Like I said, Beyonce has the Beehive, Nicki Minaj has her Barbies, Rihanna has the Rihanna Navy. But when you give your fans a name, they're able to identify each other now. Like, oh, you're a part of the Beehive too? Yeah, I'm part of the Beehive. Nah, I'm Team Rihanna. I'm Team Drake. I'm Team Hove. I'm Team Rockefeller, right? And when you have those groups and those names and you give those names to your audience, they feel a special connection. It's not enough for them to create the name themselves, right? And maybe they do create the name themselves, but when you acknowledge that name, it gives them a sense of connection to you. They may have never met you in their lives, but when they say, hey, I'm part of the Beehive, and then Beyonce gets on stage and says, I'm accepting this award and I want to thank the Beehive. Well, now you feel like she thanked you personally. So give your group a name and address them as such. It'll work wonders. Now, the next thing that you've got to do is make sure that you're creating exclusive experiences for your fan base. Now, creating those exclusive experiences, they're not just limited to, in-person events and meet and greets, although that's one thing that you can do. You can also create merchandise that's only available to a select group of your fans, or a merchandise that's only available for a certain time period. So what you might see, the most the most well-known example of that would be tour merchandise, right? Think of Kanye West on the St. Pablo tour, right? When you went to that concert and you paid $60 for that t-shirt that says St. Pablo, well, what does it do? It allows you to be recognized as one of the few people who were able to get tickets and become a part of this wonderful experience, right? If you did time-themed merchandise, then, for example, I am a huge fan of Rhapsody, and I've been a fan of Rhapsody ever since 2010, 2011, when she dropped her first mixtapes, right? Back then, the piece of merchandise that she was selling most often was a shirt that says, I am rap. So if I go to a Rhapsody concert and I have my I am rap t-shirt on, that says to anyone in the audience, hey, this guy was here from day one. And maybe even Rhapsody will see me wearing that t-shirt and say, wow, that's a day one dude. Bring him on the stage, right? These are things that you can do as well. So when you're thinking about your merchandise ideas, think of it as like capsules, right? This is the 2010 shirt. In 2010, that was the only year I made gray t-shirts with my logo on it, right? Or, maybe I did a special tie-dye edition for a specific concert. Give your audience a reason to connect with the merchandise and the experiences that you've given them. And when they see each other with those commemorative items, it can be a badge from a tour stop. It can be a certain T-shirt. It can be a certain hashtag on social media. They'll instantly recognize each other. So don't sleep on it. Make sure you create those exclusive experiences for your fan base. Now, another thing that's really cool to do is to have inside jokes with your fans. Now, if you're using the method that I teach you called the fan journey, then you know that a person, I don't consider them to really be your fan until their email address is on your email list, or they've given you their phone number and you can communicate with them through text message marketing, right? But when you do that, when you have that extra layer of communication, you can actually put content that people won't see anywhere else. So you can reference a story, right? There was that time I was in the circus riding the elephant and I fell off the elephant, right? And then when you're on social media, you can reference that, like, or maybe you have tell the people to use a peanut emoji or something, something so that people recognize, hey, this is something that only we know about, right? But when you create those experiences and those inside jokes, people feel even more connected to you. And when they see other people using those hashtags, laughing at those jokes, then they know, hey, this guy's a part of the in crowd. This guy is a part of the club, and we can be friends, right? All those things help when it's time to activate. They know where each other are, right? There can be Your Name Here fan club in every city, and you can have them all, meet up via Zoom twice a month, right? So then when your concert tour is coming, you can assemble those fan clubs and they can be your street team, right? But having those insider experiences and those inside jokes is very important to help build that sense of community. Again, it's not necessarily about you. It's about empowering your fans to be excited about each other and to work together to propel you forward. Now, the last tip that I have for you when it comes to building community is to make sure that you always shout out your most loyal supporters, right? Shout them out on social media. Follow them on Instagram. Follow them on Twitter. Retweet the things they say, right? A strategy that we used to use when I worked at Jamla Records was we would search, the artist's name in the mentions on Twitter. And we would go in, and if there was any positive commentary, we would give it a heart. We would retweet it occasionally. And every now and then, we would have the artist follow some of the people whose names we recognized most often. Again, there is nothing like the feeling of acknowledgement when you're a fan of someone or something. And of course, you know it exists and you want everybody else to know it exists. But when they know that you exist, it's a whole different story, right? If Jay-Z followed me on Instagram, I'd be like, what? Oh my gosh, Jay-Z followed me, right? And you see it all the time with people who are like diehard fans of Chris Brown or Big Sean or whoever. And they'll even put in their Twitter bio, I met Big Sean on this date. Nicki Minaj followed me on this date. So do your part and shout out your most loyal supporters. It will make them even more loyal, and it will help them become those super fans that not only pay you with their time and their money, but they bring other fans with them, right? So building that sense of community is super important. That's what's going to help you when it's time to, go on a Grammy voting campaign, or if you're trying to push your single to the Billboard charts. All of these things are helpful, being able to mobilize your group of fans and not just treat them like numbers on a dashboard somewhere. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you're thinking about all the ways that you can serve your fans and make them happy to be fans of you. Hope this video was helpful. If it was, give it a thumbs up. That really helps other people to see it. Be sure you subscribe.